I don't know if you guys are ready for the tea I'm about to spill. I brought this mug upstairs just so I could do that. And I didn't know if I should like sip it like, or like spill the tea, but I'm spilling the tea today, finally. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hey, I'm about to tell you all about my old apartment. If you're a member of the Fearless Tribe, you already know some things, but I'm gonna spill the tea. I think I'm funny. So anyway, this video has been extremely requested since I moved. If you've been following me for a while, you know I lived in my first apartment outside of living with my mother last year, and it was quite an experience. I feel like constantly annoying bad things were happening, and I just want to say a little disclaimer at the beginning of this. I'm not trying to complain and make you know, I'm kind of doing this mostly to be funny. We're gonna laugh off all the pain because now I'm in an apartment that I really love. I don't want this to seem like first world problems. I'm whining. No complaints. It's more just like funny horror story, one thing after another, after another, after another. So I actually even took the time this morning to compile a full list of all the things that went terribly, terribly wrong. So let's kind of go back to the beginning when I first moved into that apartment. For those of you who don't know, I did live there with my ex-boyfriend, so we moved in, and immediately there were 3 issues with the apartment, like immediately. And let's go back even further. So we looked at that apartment, and I immediately just like loved it. It was near everything. It was like cute, and there was one thing I loved about it. It was right by the pool. I was like, oh my god, a pool. This feels like a vacation. I'm gonna go to the pool every single day in the summer. Oh my god, every day. No. So there are multiple reasons I never went to that pool. I'm gonna bounce all over here. I'm sorry if this isn't super cohesive, but I'm gonna try my best. I just have a lot of thoughts going on in my mind right now, and I have a lot I want to say. The tea. So I did not realize that this was a very family-oriented condo complex. So like all these apartments were condos that were individually owned. So you'd have one individual landlord per place, and they'd rent out to you. It's not like one big shaboom that runs the whole thing. It was an individual landlord. So yeah, it's a very family-oriented condo complex, and I didn't really realize that. Like, whatever, I would rather be around like, you know, families than a bunch of wild young people. I'm very much an old soul grandmother. I don't like to stay up late. I'm not a loud person. Every single day from the day the pool opened for the season to the day the pool closed for the season, the pool was packed from the time it opened to the time it closed every single day. I think it closed at like 7 p.m. And let's just take a minute here. I work from home. So I sit here and I film. I kind of need like a quiet space to film in. It can't be like super duper loud. Let me just say, I'm not being dramatic. Screaming at the top of their lungs all day, every day, kids. And the pool was open from like, I want to say like June to like September, like a very vast amount of time. All day, screaming, running. Just madness. I didn't go to the pool once. No, once. Even on like cloudy days, it was just always packed. And that's great. I'm glad they're loving it. I'm gonna try and be like kind of nice here, but like I'm just salty, so don't mind me. Every day, just pure high-pitched screaming. So I'd sit here and film, and if you go back to that time, I ended up putting a lot of background music in those songs, or like not doing like chatty videos. I would do like ones with music over it, because a lot of the time when I was filming, it was super loud and you could just hear nonstop screams in the background of the footage. Like it was that loud. And mind you, not even just for filming, but since I work from home, it was a very just unpleasant environment to be around. You sit and hear that all day, just endless screaming, because we were literally right next to the pool. So just constant yelling and screaming. So anyway, well, that was a little side note. So we first moved into the apartment, and there were 3 main issues with it right away that we noticed. So we moved in, I think, April 1st. So it was kind of like spring moving into summer, and I remember it was oddly warm in the beginning. So AC was the first problem. That was, I'm not kidding, that was the worst summer of my entire life. Between screaming kids every single day where you just can't even relax at home because it's just like this constant screaming. And I'd put fans on and noisemakers trying to just be like, oh, stay calm, like it's fine. So then the AC doesn't work. So it's like central air, so you just have like a little, you know, little station where you can turn it up and down turn up and down the temperature of the apartment. So we thought at first maybe we were doing something wrong, so we, you know, always just had air conditioners like the old-fashioned way. So we didn't know if we were doing something wrong. So, because it was literally blowing out like room temperature air. So we call the landlord, and she comes over with her fiance, and they are just like, oh, yeah, you're doing it right. I don't know what's wrong. It doesn't feel like hot in here. And it's like 75. I'm like, it's hot in here. It's like, you know, 90 degrees outside. This was kind of a little later in like the summery time. So she calls the place, and they tell her there shouldn't be any problems. Just change the air filter. Okay. So whatever. She's like, all right, I'm going to get a new air filter for you guys. She buys the wrong size air filter. It's way too big. So instead of putting it in the proper way, she just leans it against it. To like the whole, I just can't. So I'm just trying to be positive. I'm like, okay, like maybe it will help. Like, sure, if you think it'll be fine. Like, and mind you, this was like, I'm pretty sure I'm her first tenant, like ever. I think she was very young. I think it's new and whatever. Side note, the air conditioner does not improve at all. It is literally like 75 to 77 degrees, and I don't know if that sounds hot to you, but it's hot. And we were directly facing the sun. I don't know like what, west, east, whatever. We are facing the sun the entire day. It's blaring. It's blaring. She literally is like, I don't know what else to do. Like, they said nothing's wrong. Like, I was like, can we have someone come out and like fix it? And she was like, they literally won't. Like, just making up such excuses. And another side note, a lot's gonna come up as I keep talking. We had like those blinds where like you turn them and they like, you know, like they do that, you know? Half of them fell off. Half of them were broken, and I can tell that she didn't want to buy new ones because she turned them and pinched a hole on the other side where they click up in, and they had them on both sides, and one was broken and then the other one broke. So I told her, of course, and she didn't replace them. So like half the shades were missing. Not only did it just look ratchet, and this place is not cheap, mind you. Like, that's where I get so angry. This place was so expensive. I'm going crazy. Like, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. So yeah, half the blinds are not there because they literally have fallen off and we can't get them to stay up. I should have like glued them or something just because I don't care. She wouldn't replace those. She wouldn't fix the air conditioner. So the entire summer we sweat our asses off. No, I did because I was always home. I sweat my ass off. I couldn't film. I didn't enjoy being home because it was hot as hell and there were screaming kids. So summer was terrible. So let's take a step back. Remember I said there were 3 problems when we moved in? That is one problem. The AC. The second problem was the stove. You waited for it. Y'all waited for it. I know you did. All of you guys who have watched me, you remember the stove. You remember the stove, right? The clicking stove. The one that literally could have combusted at any moment. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a step back here. This stove, first of all, you know, the apartment wasn't updated at all. For the price it should have been, and I'll go into that later. But the stove was like this just ratchet, very old stove, which is fine. My mom and I lived in houses where our stoves were old. I don't care as long as it works. I don't need aesthetically perfect shit. I just wanted it to work. So the stove tops, there were, you know, there's 4. 2 of them worked, whatever. Made cooking a little difficult sometimes, but I made it work. The inside of the stove, the oven, you know how when you have a gas stove and like you're turning on a stove top and it like kind of clicks for a second before it blows up the flame? So every time we'd use the internal oven, it clicked the entire time, like that sound when you're like, the entire time we'd cook anything. It did not stop. It would get louder and louder and louder. And not only was it just really irritating because, you know, our living room and kitchen were kind of together, so like if you're trying to just like watch TV or relax, it's just this loud piercing clicking the entire time. But it didn't feel safe either because I was like, this just doesn't seem like like it's a good thing, you know. So we'd have her come over and you know, listen to it, and she never did anything about it. I'm like, I'm sorry, like not only is it like just really annoying, but I just don't know if it's like safe. Like, I don't know. I mean, the stove's kind of old. I don't care if it's old. I just don't know. Like that sound doesn't seem like normal. And I'd like Googled it and stuff, and I felt like it needed to be fixed. And I'm not even trying to be petty here, but that sound was so annoying, and I'm sorry, but like for the rent we're paying and like all that crap, you should give me a stove that doesn't click the entire time we bake anything. Cause like we use that oven a lot. Like we were cooking at home a lot. So, oh my gosh, it was just like, and then every time it would click, it would almost just spark up all your anger because of all the issues in the apartment, you know, like one thing just sets you off about everything else. So it was just like the cherry on top of the emotional, traumatically over the top Sunday I had. So in terms of that whole situation, she did not get it fixed. Oh, until when? You want to know when she got it fixed? You want to know? Even though I literally texted her about it all winter, all fall and winter, because you know, you use your oven all the time in the fall and winter, cold weather, hello. So she has these guys come to fix it maybe 3 months before our lease is over. Fine, at least we're gonna have it fixed for the last few months, because I literally like asked her consistently all winter. So like end of winter, these 2 guys come to fix it. So they come in and they say, they're doing their thing, and like they're like, oh yeah, this is really annoying. Like I would be really annoyed if I heard this. I'm like, welcome to my life every single day. So they tell me that it needs, I think, a new spark plug, if I'm not mistaken. That sounds about right, but I could be wrong. So they say it needs a new spark plug. And I'm like, oh, cool. So like, are you gonna fix it? And they said, no, your landlord told us not to fix it if it's gonna be over $200. And I'm like, oh, like, so you guys are just gonna like leave now? And they're like, yeah, I'm really sorry, that's like all we could do. I'm like, oh, all right, bye. So I mean, I text her and I like tell her what's up. I'm like, oh, they said, you know, you told them not to repair it for under 200. That's fine. So like, what's the plan? Like, are you gonna get a new stove instead? I'm sure she didn't want to like spend too much money fixing it. Why not just get a new stove? Because it's pretty old anyway. So I figured that's what she was gonna do. And she was like, oh yeah, like they're actually gonna order the part. And I'm like, oh yes, they're ordering a part. A month later goes by and I like text her chick. I'm like, hey, just wanted to check in on that part for the oven, you know, like our lease is almost over and I was kind of excited to get it fixed. I'm sure I didn't even say that, but I was just like checking in, whatever. I was so nice all the time, trust. Then she's like, oh yeah, still waiting. Like she kept pushing it and pushing it, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this girl did not even order this new part. She is just messing with me, stringing me along. So then a month before move out date, she tells me she's gonna get a new stove. Oh, okay, so the month before we leave, you're gonna get a new stove. She was like, yeah, I figured it would just be easier, like, you know, I'm gonna get a new stove. I'm like, okay, cool, just let me know when you're gonna bring it. In my head, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll have a new stove for like a few weeks, cool. Then she texts me a week later and she's like, I'm just gonna put the new stove in after you move out. It'll be a lot easier that way. I just can't. For a second, I thought she was gonna like, you know, pretend that she was getting a new stove and just like leave the crappy one for whoever new moved in there. But like she genuinely got a new stove after it was moved out. Like I don't even know what to say about that. So I don't even know what to say. Like, let's just say I wanted to like bake some salmon in the summertime. So the stove is clicking. It's already so hot in there. It would get over 80 if we ever had to use the stove. Like that's just because the air conditioning just didn't work. And let's go back. That was problem number 2. Let's hit number 3 now. The shower. You know, some people enjoy a good shower. You know, you spend some time in there, release your emotional problems, and just have a good time. And the bathtub was disgusting. Couldn't take a bath. It's chill, fine. A nice shower sounds good, right? From the moment we moved in till the day we were no longer there, the shower would go from hot to ice cold, like blazing hot, like the depths of hell, like the depths, like all of it. As hot as you can imagine, scalding, painfully hot, to freezing ice cold about every 30 seconds. And this wasn't just like a random situation, this was every single time we used the shower. Like literally it would go, so you'd put it on your nice temperature, you'd get in, maybe like 20 seconds later, it would be like, ooh, this is getting really hot. 20 seconds later, oh my God, this is getting freezing, back and forth, maybe like 20 to 30 seconds, back and forth, back and forth. So you take these quick, painful, terrible showers. Oh, but just awful. And this didn't get fixed. And I told her about it at the beginning and she was just like she'd put her hand in and she'd be like, I don't feel any change. I'm like, get your naked body in there then. Like, and her fiance was like, oh no, I feel it. I'm like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you feel it. So that never got fixed. That was just terrible. Like, dry shampoo, thank you for saving my life. So those were the 3 main problems when we moved in, and none of them got fixed. I was just thrown constant excuses for everything. and it was just really a long year. Let's talk about mice. Yep, so about maybe like a few months into the lease, we started getting mice in the kitchen. And I'm not even gonna filter this. Like, I'm not like gonna lie to you and be like, oh my god, like it was just one. No, like there was like a solid like couple of mice, because one was smaller, one was bigger. And like when we first saw, horrified, whatever, it happens. Like it's happened in old houses before. I know how to handle my mice. Like I, get a trap or whatever. So we catch one in the trap. Then we find two more. Like we see them kind of like in the living room. You can like see them running through the kitchen. So we'd see them come out at night. So we tried different traps, and like I notified her right away, because like we're in a condo complex, so this could be like an internal issue, and they should know. It's not like I have a house or something. We're in like an apartment. So I want to make sure she knows, and she can notify the building association or whatever that there's an issue. So I let her know. She tells them. So the building association just brings in their like the maintenance guy, and he like checks the kitchen for everything to see if there's any holes open anywhere, like where is it coming from. We never found out where it was coming from, and he said he couldn't find where it was coming from, so it never got fixed. And we just kept putting out our own traps, never caught all of them. They were there every single night, and it was gross, and it just never got fixed. I was hoping she would hire like a pest control person, but she didn't. So the new tenants are gonna enjoy their mice. And this is disgusting. Every single morning there was mouse poop on the kitchen freaking counter. I'd clean it with Lysol every single morning, and there'd always be new poop in the morning. Is that not the grossest thing you've ever heard? Is that just not? Like, that's where you cook. Let's talk about neighbors. This video is gonna be so long. I hope you had a snack or something, or some tea. Neighbors. Okay, so there was 4 on each floor. The person next to us, super quiet. Person below us, I don't know, we were on the 3rd floor of 3 floors. Thank God there was no one above us, but below us, I don't know anything about them. I've never met them. To this day, I've never met them. But I feel like I know their whole life. All I know is that there was either like no one there or everyone there. Like, I don't know how many people were in this apartment, but like I could just tell there was at least 5 just having a very intense conversation. It was in another language, so I couldn't hear what they were saying. If it was English, I would have heard every single word, but just constant loud talking, and this one song every single day. This one song, I want to like cry of laughter right now. I feel cuckoo. There was one song that they would play every single day. I don't know what it was, but it was just one guitar melody that was just blaring. I could just like feel it like shaking, like ding, ding, ding. Like I remember it in my head, I can hear it. And it would play every single day. And then at night they'd have everyone come over and talk really loud. And there was one thing that started happening towards the end that I'm so glad didn't happen the whole year, because I would have gone absolutely crazy. They started cooking in the middle of the night. I think they like put maybe something in a crock pot or something. Like, where you let it marinate overnight or something. But this smell, it smelled like it was being cooked next to my head in my bedroom. Like it was that intense. It woke me up from sleep once. And I mean, like, that's cool, but like it's just like, I'm glad you're cooking. I'm not trying to be like rude right now, but it was the most intense, intoxicating smell I've ever smelled, and it would literally keep me up at night or wake me up. And it was always around like 2 a.m. I'd be like, oh my god, and it was just very, very intense. One time, I was home alone one night, and the music was playing like just way louder than it had ever been played, and it wasn't like the typical like pretty guitar music that's still obnoxiously and just rudely loud. It was just rude. Like, better. You're in an apartment. Like, you can't blare music at the top of your lungs, like just the loudest music. Better. Like, I'm here. And like during the day, I'm like, oh, maybe they don't think I'm home, whatever. But at night, like at night queen, it was so loud. Like I'm texting my mom. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm really tired. I cannot sleep like this. I think it was like maybe 11 or 11:30 or something on a weeknight. Because I'd be a little more lenient on the weekends, but like, I'm trying to sleep, girl. I'm a granny. And like the common courtesy rule, it's like 11. So I don't know. It was just very, very, very loud, vibrating. Like, I could hear it over the TV. So I'm texting my mom, and I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, I don't like call anyone, but I really don't have like the guts to go down there. And she's like, just do it. Like, this is a good learning experience as a grown up. Sometimes you have to do these things. So I muster up the courage, and I go down there, and I like knock on the door. No one answers. And I can like, it's like blaring from behind the door. So like I knock a little louder, bang, 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 bang. The music's so loud they can't hear me. They couldn't hear my knocking. So I like go back upstairs and I'm like, I call her, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I just like knocked and no one answered. And then I like thought about leaving a note and I didn't, and I was just like over it. I was just like, whatever. And I waited it out. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier and I know someone's gonna bring it up. Leaf blower guy. No shade to leaf blower guy. I have some weird admiration in my heart for leaf blower guy. If you follow me on like Snapchat and stuff, you know about leaf blower guy. The maintenance crew for the complex was very, very strict about like keeping the grounds clean and orderly, which I really appreciate. It was nice. But the leaf blower guy liked to go out and blow the leaves every single morning from like spring to fall. And I'm talking like really early, like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. He's out there. Like that was a really bad impersonation, but it was very early every single morning. And because we're like on that edge of like where he was, it sounded like it was like right in your ear, right in your ear. I'm not trying to complain because he's just doing his job, I know, but it was just a little side note of something, the great way to start your day every day. And then with these other major issues on top of everything else, it was just constant hell. Let's talk about security guard. So there are security guards that also go around the grounds or whatever, especially at night, which is again a great system. So at the end, my friends Gabby and Alexis were helping me clean out the apartment because I really wanted to like minimalize my life when I moved. So I was getting rid of a ton of stuff, and the dumpsters were kind of far away from where we were walking. We're like, we can't carry all this. So we kind of like pull up the car towards the apartment and just load it up and drive it over to the dumpsters because we couldn't carry all that. And so like we're emptying it, we're throwing everything away. And mind you, like, sorry, I've been recording so long, my camera overheated. This is gonna be so long. I don't remember what I was saying. Okay, so we brought the trash over to the dumpster. And mind you, I have like a parking sticker like in the back of my car that says like I belong to this complex, like I have a parking spot, like I'm legit. So we're taking the trash out in the dumpster, and the security guard goes over, he's like, do you live here? And I'm like, yeah. And again, I'm very nice when interacting. I'm never sassy, just know that. I'm very much an easygoing person. So I'm like, yeah, I do. And he's like, what building? And I'm like, blah, blah. And he's like, what unit? Blah, blah. And I'm like, is there an issue? And he was like, I just want to make sure you really live here and you're not just putting your trash in our dumpsters. And I'm like, no, I just moved like literally right down, I live right there. Like, he's like, why do you have so much trash? Like interrogating me. I'm like, I'm moving in a few weeks and I'm cleaning out my apartment. He was like, are you sure it's none of your friends' trash? I'm like, no, it's my trash. He's like, if I go through the trash, will I find your friend's stuff? I'm like, no. Like, cuckoo bananas, calm yourself. Like, it was just so dramatic and so over the top. So this is the first time I've even seen that security guard. It's usually like a different nice old man. So this guy's like cuckoo bananas in his combat boots and shit, like wannabe cop, like get away from me. So then, you know, he like lets us go or whatever. Like, yeah, like there's no issue. Like, don't interrogate me. I just hate when men make you feel inferior. Like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, get away from me. So, but I get it. But like, he didn't have to do it in such an interrogative, like rude way. Then I have another encounter with the same security guard a few weeks later, like right before I'm about to move out. So I put a lot of my furniture on the app Lego, hashtag not sponsored. And so someone comes to get one of the pieces, and this is kind of funny actually. This is like kind of a funny story. So I tell her where to park. I'm like, park along the fence. So let me give you a little visual. There's a fence, and then a little walkway, and then the apartments. Like, you can't bring your car, you know, past the fence because it's like a walkway and grass. It's for walking only. So I tell her, I'm like, park by the fence. You can walk up to the building, ding, 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 get it, and then just, it's a short walk. So clearly this woman didn't understand me. There's a little opening next to the fence. She drives her pickup truck around the fence up to the building, like in the area where no cars are allowed. Like, they're not allowed. It's super obvious it's only for like walking. There's like trees and a little path. There's no road. And she pulls her car all the way up there, and I didn't know because I'm up in the apartment. Like, I didn't come out and like see her or anything because like she was doing it all herself with her family. And so then I get like you know, she takes everything down and pays me whatever, it's cool. And then I get a buzz at my apartment, and I'm like, hello, and he like, it's the same security guard, and I see him and my heart drops because he just makes me nervous now, unfortunately. So he tells me, he's like, that woman just told me that she was buying some furniture from you, and I'm like, yep, is there a problem? And he was like, did you see where she parked her car? I'm like, oh no, I told her to park by the fence. And he was like, she is parked on the property, ma'am. And I'm like, oh my God, I am so sorry. Like I immediately am just like, what? I am so sorry. I didn't know that she was doing that. I didn't tell her to do that. I'm so sorry. And he was like, you're going to be receiving a fine for the damages. And I'm like, fine. And like, I go down and look at it, and there's like, you know, and then he also threatens to call a tow truck, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like, she's leaving, like, she just was putting something in the car and she's like leaving. I'm so sorry, please don't call a tow truck, like, you can find me if you want, it's totally my fault, like, owning my actions, own your actions. And you know, it was like just one huge kerfuffle. Oh, and another time I got fined was for having a dead plant on my porch. That's how like strict these people were. I had a plant, went away on a work trip, came back, it was dead. The next day I get a fine from the building people about the dead plant. I'm like, how are you guys, like they're so strict, which is cool. Like, I get it, they want to run a tight ship, but like, it was just one thing after another all year long. So like, mind you, as I said before, I wouldn't be as salty about all of this if it wasn't so expensive. So I looked at the comps for the other ones in the complex, and they were going for the same price or whatever. So the day I move out, actually, the one across the hall from me is being showed by a realtor, and I know that they had been renovating it, whoever owns that one, because they're all individually owned. So he wants to like take a peek in mine and show his clients, and I was like, can I take a peek in that one? It's beautiful. It's flawlessly updated. Like, my floors were like creepy, the paint was chipped, the cabinets were old and gross, and it was just bad. Like, my apartment was just bad. It was not nearly worth the money we paid. So I'm looking in the newly renovated one, and it's white and crisp and beautiful. It's repainted, the floors are done, the bathroom is sparkling white and crisp and beautiful, and it looked amazing. And I was like, see, this is worth the money of the rent where I was at, not what I was paying, especially for all the issues where just nothing got fixed. Everything was wrong all the time, one thing after another after another. Oh, and all the closet doors, they were like slidey ones, they were broken. They were off the railing. And so like, you'd open it and it would just fly open because it didn't slide. Everything was broken. Just trust me, everything was broken. And my landlord, I'm sorry, like, she doesn't know I even have a channel, so I don't think she'll see this, but like, oh my God, just rough. Just everything was an issue. And then when I moved out, she sent me this massive, okay, first of all, when I moved out, this video is so long. When I moved out, she texted me a week before moving out, and I'm finally like starting to pack a little bit. She texted me a week before moving out and says, do you have a rough time estimate of when you're going to be out on the 31st? And I was like, oh, probably like early afternoon. Is that okay with you? And she goes, no, can you be out by 10 a.m.? Bitch, you want me to be out at 10 a.m.? No, I can't. She was like, I already hired the cleaning crew and the stove people to come in that afternoon to install it, like, so I'm gonna need you to be out earlier. And I'm like, and I wrote back and I'm like, I got sassy at this point because my mom is a realtor, so like, she knows what's poppin'. Like, I was like, no, this isn't, you don't know how any of these rules work. I literally wrote back, I'm like, I'm sorry, but legally I have until 11:59 p.m. in this apartment, and I'm trying to compromise with you. I told you I would leave by 2. That gives you still plenty of time. And side note, she told me she had a cleaning crew coming. She sent me a list a mile long of all the cleaning that I had to do before I left. She was like, this apartment needs to be exactly how it was when you moved in. Why are you hiring a cleaning crew if I have to clean the entire thing top to bottom? You're lying. Like, she just lied about everything. And my mom and me and my grandma, we cleaned the entire apartment, like, and who knows, like, I'm still waiting for my security deposit. God knows she's not going to give me back the whole thing. She's going to lie and say that this was broken or this was, like, when it was all broken when we moved in. Oh my God, I'm just, this is, after this, like, we're not talking about this again because my blood pressure is through the roof. And I get it, like, let's take this with a grain of salt. Let's laugh. Your first apartment is always a learning lesson. I now know when I found this apartment, I knew what to look for. I have a great shower now. I have a great stove. I just get so mad that like I paid so much and it just was so bad. So yeah, that's the tea. The tea has been spilt, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm probably forgetting more things, to be totally honest. Like, oh, I'm not even going to talk about when it snowed and having to move the car. We're not going to talk about that. I'm done. This video is super long, and I really hope you enjoyed. I know this was so requested. Let me know your apartment horror story down below, because we all have them, don't we? So yeah, I'd love to read those comments and see what you guys have been through. We all struggling, but again, please don't think I'm like being whiny and complaining. Y'all wanted me to spill the tea. I'm spilling the tea. There it is. Cheers to a better apartment. All right, I love you guys so much. If you liked this, make sure you subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.